Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 20 hardest modern bosses. Number 30, Terramorphous the Invincible, Borderlands 2. You definitely don't want to face Terramorphous solo. In fact, anything less than a full party of 4 is likely a death sentence. The quest is called You Will Die, seriously. And it lives up to the name. Only opening up when you finished Borderlands 2's story, this boss is designed to be taken on at the very end of the game when you're at the max level possible. Going in any earlier makes you either very brave or very stupid, or maybe both. Before facing Terramorphous, you'll want to invest in a lot of upgrades to increase your ammo capacity, get the best equipment you can find, and perhaps even lower the difficulty. But above all, do not go it alone. Number 29, Icon of Sin, Doom Eternal. By the end of the game, only one thing stands between the Doomslayer and his mission to save Earth from total annihilation. That thing is the Icon of Sin, a being summoned to consume humanity in the finale. The Icon has a wide range of damaging attacks it can use to smite you. You need to be fast on your feet to avoid both this fearsome creature and the seemingly endless enemies that it spawns. Between killing low-level enemies for health and ammo drops and trying to knock off the Icon's armor, there's a lot going on. It will probably take you quite a few attempts to get a handle on what the hell is happening in this chaotic conclusion, let alone conquer the Icon. Number 28, Ballos, Cave Story. Sealed away underground, Ballos reveals himself to be the true antagonist of Cave Story and the final boss for Quote and his friends to defeat. You'll only encounter Ballos if you're on track for the game's best ending, traveling to hell itself. Ballos is an ominous figure even when you first meet him, but he's got a variety of forms for you to go through, and each form is freakier than the last one. Beating him is an art. You'll have had to master the game's controls and perfected your attacks to avoid getting caught by his flying eyeballs and land hits on your own. But first, you'll want to have found all the best weapons. Number 27, Senator Armstrong, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance.
How the hell did you get elected?
Well, I don't write my own speeches.
The senator from Texas has the floor, and he's going to use that floor to absolutely destroy Rodin and anyone else naive enough to take him on without a solid strategy. Armstrong is a politician on a mission to seize control of America, but not satisfied with working behind a desk, he's also used advanced nanotechnology to make himself a physical powerhouse. The fight isn't made any easier by the tricky battle arena. Your fight begins in a small area surrounded by invisible walls. Armstrong is just as difficult for Raiden to beat narratively as it is for you. Combined with the total lack of checkpoints, he's sure to stop you in your tracks.
You carve your own path. Use whatever methods you see fit.
Number 26, Morgan Freeman, South Park: The Fractured But Whole.
Refried beans do not agree with me.
Morgan Freeman is without a doubt the hardest boss in the game, but luckily, he's also an optional one. Unfortunately, if you're looking to win that illustrious Farts Over Freckles trophy, you're going to have to brave this boss fight at some point or another. But we really don't recommend trying to fight Mr. Freeman until you've beaten the game and your character is upgraded to the max, because he starts off with 9,999 hit points and has a powerful fart attack that can kill any of your party members instantly.
That's called a kiss from the lips that never smile.
Also, in the second phase of the fight, he has twice the number of turns as the first. You're going to need a whole lot of healing potions and double the amount of patience to survive this battle.
Listen to my heavenly voice and gaze upon my freckles. Congratulations. you've just been Freeman.
Number 25, Mr. X, Super Tyrant, Resident Evil 2. There are a few things that make this battle frustratingly hard, but none more so than Mr. X's instant kill charge attack. If you're low on ammo at this point, the fight is basically impossible, as you have to stagger Mr. X with a shot to the heart while he's charging up to lunge at you. And it's likely that you will be low on ammo at this point because most of the fight has you unloading bullets into the monster's heart, which is pretty small and easily missed. Then there's the issue of the platform itself and how small it is compared to the enormity of the boss, not to mention his decent speed, long reach, and powerful regular attacks. Aim, shoot, don't miss. Number 24, Sephiroth, Kingdom Hearts 2.
I see. So that's a Keyblade.
Oh, I remember this one like it was yesterday. One of the most iconic Final Fantasy villains of all time, Sephiroth was inevitably going to show up in Kingdom Hearts eventually. But rather than introduce him as a big bad, he's instead an optional boss that Sora can avoid fighting, although he is part of the story. Considering Sephiroth is easily the most difficult boss in the entire game, boasting an insane amount of HP, only the worthiest of players will be able to face him and win. And he hasn't been made any easier to fight in his reappearances since the original Final Fantasy VII either. He's still a deadly match for Cloud in the 2020 remake. Number 23, the Nameless King, Dark Souls 3. You can't say you've truly beaten Dark Souls 3 until you take down the Nameless King and his deadly Storm Drake, King of the Storm. It's a fight that has made even the best and most popular players rage quit time and time again. Once you've killed the King's steed, it's time to go head to head with the Nameless King himself, who's just as powerful as his pet monster. Another dual fight that can be a chore is the Ornstein and Small boss in the original game. Just like the Nameless King will absorb the electrical damage on the dragon, Ornstein and Small will take one another's powers depending on who you kill first. Number 22, Extreme Behemoth, Monster Hunter World. When a boss makes their entrance by coming crashing down from the heavens inside a meteorite, you know it's going to be a difficult kill. Taking the Extreme Behemoth down alone is possible, but certainly not advised. Unless you're an absolute pro, you'll want a group of friends with some very specific and balanced builds. It's no use focusing entirely on damage. You need a tank to keep its attention, a healer to make sure you're all alright, and a lot of DPS behind you to help with one of the fight's phases. To make matters even worse, unlike the regular Behemoth, the extreme variety will eventually become immune to the flash pods typically used to interrupt certain attacks. Number 21, Father Rodin, Bayonetta. Like a lot of other hidden optional bosses, Rodin's difficulty level is unlike anything else experienced in the main campaign. While the first Bayonetta game is quite challenging on its own, there's literally no room for error with Rodin, what with his blindingly fast speed and punishing attacks. One wrong move and you'll lose most of your health bar or even be instantly killed. Also, halfway through the battle, Rodin starts using his most powerful attacks more regularly, making this fight seem almost unfair. Dodge, dodge, and dodge again. Be confident and precise in your attacks, and most importantly, may the video game gods smile upon you because you're gonna need all the help you can get. Number 20, Nyx's Avatar, Persona 3 Reload. Hope you maxed out those social links, trained up your personas, and are armed to the teeth, because you're going to need it if you want to survive the gauntlet that is this apocalyptic entity. The battle against Nick's avatar is one of endurance, since it will switch between each of the major Arcana tarot cards, and in doing so, change up its attack patterns and weakness. By the time you've figured out a strategy to best it, the cycle starts all over again. That's 14 phases of pure pain, so best to get preparing if you want to make it to that bittersweet ending.
The time has come.
Pretty
Can't
solid
afford
hit.
to lose!
Number 19, Verdugo, Resident Evil 4 Remake. When a game gives you the option to run away from a fight, you know things are about to take a turn for the worst. Verdugo, aside from being utterly terrifying, is also one of Resident Evil's biggest damage sponges, with the only surefire way to end it being to consistently expose it to sub-zero temperatures, then light it up with every last piece of ammo you've got. That's all easier said than done, giving its fondness for dipping in and out of crawl spaces, not to mention its wicked speed. We honestly can't blame anyone for ducking out midway through. Verdugo is a beast that's more than a match for Leon and his fabulous hair. Number 18, Ogdo Bogdo and Spawn of Ogdo, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Cal Kestis' slew of spacefaring adventures has given us some of the best moments in Star Wars gaming catalog. It's also given us an intense hatred towards frogs. Both Fallen Order and Survivor each had a giant toad to battle against, and each was horrendous, but neither compared to the anguish of having to face both at the same time. In an enclosed arena, able to leap large distances and all too eager to spam their insta-kill attacks, these extraterrestrial amphibians pushed many of us to the dark side. Respawn, we will not be responsible for our actions if you put another Ogdo in the threequel. Number 17, Raphael, Baldur's Gate 3.
And tragedy, my friend. Well, there's my bread and bloody butter.
He's the devil among devils, a charismatic hellspawn who delivers deals and death in equal measure. A monster so in love with himself that he sings his own theme song. Should the player decide to go against Raphael and invade his House of Hope, it leads to a clash that makes the likes of the Netherbrain look like a tutorial boss. Raphael himself comes with an astounding 666 HP and some devastating spells under his belt, and can use the pillars around the stage to restore and bolster his strength. And that's to say nothing of his miniature army of Cambions ready to jump into the fray and spear your party. Number 16, Laxasia the Complete, Lies of P. There are Souls-like, and then there's Lies of P. Channeling the essence of what makes FromSoft games great, this dark and brutal reimagining of Pinocchio hits all the right notes, including its extraordinarily challenging bosses. And among the roster, few come close to Laxasia and her ability to punish players into powder. Her first phase can be grueling unless you're adept with the parry system, especially with her swinging that greatsword around like it's a paperweight. Then comes her second phase, where she literally brings the thunder. Good luck dealing with those projectiles and random bouts of teleportation.
Sir Simon, only you with the word.
Number 15, Absolute Radiance, Hollow Knight. The true boss at the end of this modern masterpiece of a Metroidvania, the Radiance is godly in everything but name, putting every player through their paces with an onslaught of attacks that all too quickly become overwhelming. And then along came the Godmaster DLC, and with it, a far more ferocious and challenging version, and that's saying something. Every attack is doubled in speed and scope, while the platforming elements become all the trickier to navigate. Honestly, if you manage to conquer this fight following the unparalleled brutality that is the Pantheon of Hallownest, you have our respect. Number 14, IB1 Cell 240, Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon.
Get ready, 621. One more job for you.
There's no shortage of war machines to test your mettle against in FromSoft's return to the mecha genre, but even against continent-sized robots, none compare to the unmatched savagery that is the Cell 240. A sentient armored core controlled by coral energy, this thing is as fast as it is lethal. Trading bullets for energy waves, this Sentinel will dominate the battlefield with its unmatched maneuverability before unleashing barrages that will offer the slimmest of openings. You're going to need some next level reaction time before you have a hope of returning fire.
You've nearly got it, 621. You're the only one.
Number 13, Raven Beak, Metroid Dread. Congratulations, Samus, you've got a father. Bad news, he's a murderous megalomaniac who has no issue with wiping out his own bloodline to achieve his goals. Raven Beak is the pinnacle of Metroid difficulty, with a slew of weapons and techniques that will have you screw attacking around the room in the faint hope of trying to outlast them. Arm cannons, missiles dashing across the screen, sprouting wings, giant lasers, a miniature sun, this Chozo is a walking armory with the itchiest of trigger fingers. Number 12, Demi-fiend, Shin Megami Tensei V. You want a true JRPG challenge? One that on the surface appears borderline unfair? Well, say hello to the Demi-fiend. Former franchise protagonist turned recurring boss, you shouldn't even think about facing him unless your party of demons are leveled up to the max. He's completely resistant to all attacks except those of the almighty Persuasion, which deal devastating damage to your whole group, can heal himself back to maximum health, and will constantly summon 3 other demons to help him out, who, by the way, are no slouches. Oh, and if you fail certain conditions, such as not defeating one of his minions within a set number of turns, he'll insta-nuke you. Yeah, the Demi-fiend doesn't mess around. Number 11, Malenia, Blade of Miquella, Elden Ring.
The scarlet bloom flowers once more.
You know her, you hate her, you've been slaughtered by her a million times. She's the hardest battle in the entirety of Elden Ring, and easily one of the most challenging bosses FromSoft has ever conjured up. The reach of Malenia's blade and the speed in which she can land attacks are insane, with every hit adding to her own health pool. Then there's her infamous waterfowl dance, a series of slashes that will tear you apart if you don't at least dodge a few of her swings. And that's just phase 1. Once she transforms into the goddess of rot, you're going to have to deal with all of that, plus explosions of scarlet rot that will disintegrate your health should you linger too close.
Your strength. Extraordinary.
Number 10, Yaldabaoth, Persona 5.
Give me a break!
Finally, once you've practically beaten the game and have cleared out the furthest depths of Mementos, you'll come face to face with Persona 5's actual villain, Yaldabaoth. This fight is all about speed and trying to kill the boss before it can deal too much damage, but it's made even harder by the fact that this is the second of 2 boss fights you're going to fight back to back.
And it has a gun?
the first being against the Holy Grail before it reveals its true form. As with any turn-based RPG, you need to have a robust strategy going in with plenty of items for replenishing SP and HP. If you watch all the cutscenes, the fight can take even a skilled player a while to complete.
Number 9. Vergil, Devil May Cry 5. Even if you're playing on human difficulty to enjoy the games of surge story and button-mashy combat, the stage bosses can still be quite tough, and Vergil is definitely the hardest. In Dante's final battle versus his brother, the first half of the fight is manageable if you keep moving and only attack when there's an opening. But when Vergil uses his Devil Trigger halfway through, you'll need to either memorize his blazing fast attack patterns in order to parry, or just run away like a coward. This fight calls for lots of patience when the majority of the game is spent on the offensive, and if you're overeager when facing Vergil, he's going to carve you up like a Thanksgiving turkey.
Number 8. Shibata Katsui, Nioh 2. Both a human and a yokai, Shibata Katsui has plenty of frustrating attacks in his repertoire that you'll need to learn before you can defeat him. Most important is remembering to dodge when he charges at you, and then going in close for a combo as soon as he stops bouncing off the walls. Your best bet is to deal lots of poison damage to him because that's his weakness. Be wary, however, of the Guardian Spirit he can summon. This is an aggressive board that deals fire damage. Make sure you know what you're doing and load up on powerful equipment. With enough preparation, you might manage to beat Shibata Katsui without breaking any controllers. Number 7. Grim Matchstick, Cuphead.
As if this fight wouldn't have been hard enough just learning Grimm's attack patterns over 3 forms, but dealing with the randomly occurring cloud platforms just seems cruel. Sometimes, in order to not fall to your death, you have to eat a projectile from Grimm just to land safely on a cloud, making for a frustrating damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. The first 2 stages of this fight, while still frustrating, are manageable with well-timed jumps. But it's the last phase that had us wanting to rage quit. You'll need to have some amazing concentration skills to keep track of the clouds, orange balls, and flamethrower all at once.
Number 6. Theseus and Asterius, Hades.
2 against 1. Seems hardly fair. Ah well. Let's kill him and be done, King.
The nature of the underworld is that everybody's either immortal or already dead. So every time Zagreus dies and returns to the House of Hades, so do all of his foes. Though not the final boss, the combo fight against Theseus and Asterius will have you pulling your hair out in frustration. And this is only made worse by the fact that Theseus is a sore loser. When one of them dies, the other gets a power-up in the form of a godly boon for Theseus and a debilitating attack boost for Asterius. They're such a notorious pair that this might actually be the hardest fight in the entire game, even if you've already completed it and are just going for additional runs. Number 5. Sigrun, the Valkyrie Queen, God of War.
For all the work that goes into even reaching this boss, you'd think that she'd be slightly more forgiving, but nope. That's wishful thinking. All the previous Valkyrie fights have basically just been training for the Queen, and she uses all the movesets from the previous Valkyries as well, making her attack arsenal almost overwhelming. It's not just that she has a lot of moves either, but she has a few that are incredibly powerful, like her flying mace slam, and are likely to end your game real quick if you're not paying attention. You'll need to be constantly blocking and looking for an opportunity to parry in order to get the upper hand in this tense battle.
Number 4. Sans, Undertale. If you're brave enough to take the genocide route and challenge Sans and Undertale, you're likely the kind of gamer who is looking for punishing difficulty. Well, congrats, you found it. You'll need to memorize these grueling minigame patterns within an inch of perfection while continuously dying over and over again due to their frustrating difficulty. Seriously,
Just watching some of these patterns makes us feel dizzy. There's no other way to progress this battle but to fight Sans, so make sure you bring as many recovery items with you as possible. He's not impossible, but he can sure feel like it at times.
Number 3. Maneater, Demon Souls. In another case where the arena itself adds to a lot of the fight's difficulty, you'll face Maneater while stuck on an incredibly narrow bridge. Not only do you need to worry about fighting the boss, but you also need to watch your footing to ensure you don't fall to your doom. But then, just when you think you've got the upper hand, the Maneater will summon a friend so that you're up against 2 of these fearsome creatures. After all that, you've still got to watch out for poison damage if you don't get rid of that tail fast enough. Everything is working against you in this battle, and I can tell you, I died quite a bit. Number 2. Orphan of Kos, Bloodborne, The Old Hunters.
As if the bosses in Bloodborne weren't tough enough, the Old Hunters DLC went ahead and upped the difficulty and gave us some of the toughest baddies in the entire Souls series. And Kos is definitely up there as one of the hardest. If his loud shrieking doesn't wreck your nerves, the second phase of his battle sure will. Parrying is key to the first stage of the fight, but staying still for long enough to even think of parrying in the second stage feels like a death sentence, thanks to Kos's insane leap attacks and powerful lightning charges. Practice makes perfect, yeah, but you'll need a bit of luck upending old Kos.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Isshin, the Sword Saint. Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice.
Which means Sekiro. I must destroy you.
In previous From Software games, you could always summon another gamer to help you with tough bosses. Not so in Sekiro, however, as there's no multiplayer available. So, you're on your own. Sure, the first stage of this battle isn't that hard, as a well-timed deflect leaves Isshin open to damage, but the second stage of this fight is insane and is really all about survival. Isshin's giant spear is much harder to deflect and has way more range than his sword, so it's best to just stay clear of him unless you're a deflecting master. Get the occasional shot in when you can, but do not linger, as Isshin's combo attacks are brutal.
In the mood for more awesome gaming content? Be sure to check out this video here on Mojo Plays. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.